Namaskar students, welcome back to another lecture. So in this series of lecture, I am discussing the transistor biasing. So in transistor biasing, there are several techniques which I have started in my previous lectures. So till now I have covered fixed bias configuration, then emitter bias configuration, then I have discussed voltage divider configuration, then I have discussed collector feedback configuration. So in today's lecture, I will discuss emitter follower configuration. Another technique I have not written here, that is common base configuration, transistor biasing technique. So today I will discuss two transistor biasing technique. One is emitter follower configuration, another is the common base configuration. So if we recall whatever we have learned till now, so in case of fixed bias configuration, we have one DC power source. And this DC power source was connected to the base and connected to the collector terminal through a collector resistance and through a base resistance. So this technique was called as a fixed bias or base bias, and we have solved a few numerical problems which confirms that this base emitter junction is in forward bias and this base collector junction was in reverse bias. So that is what condition we require to operate transistor in a linear region. So we can use transistor as an amplifier. Then I have introduced another technique because the stability of this common base transistor was not good. Apart from the stability, the sensitivity with change in beta, that was also poor in fixed bias configuration. Then I have introduced another configuration technique, that was emitter bias. So emitter bias configuration technique was just introducing, adding another resistance at the emitter terminal in fixed bias configuration. That is, that remains same. The circuit remains same. That it looks like similar to the fixed bias configuration. Just we introduce one emitter resistance at the emitter terminal. So that technique basically improves the stability and insensitivity with respect to beta. So this is called as a emitter bias configuration. And we have solved some numerical problem in which I have shown that why this emitter bias configuration is stable and insensitive with respect to fixed bias configuration. Then I have introduced another biasing technique, that was voltage divider biasing technique. So in voltage divider biasing technique, apart from this emitter resistance, if you remember the fixed bias and emitter bias, in emitter bias we have one resistance here, that was RB, collector resistance and emitter resistance, and plus VCC. Apart from this R1, RB, here we have introduced another resistance, that was in place of RB. We have introduced two resistance, that is R1 and R2. They are basically in parallel and they have connected to the base. So here, so the idea is whatever this DC power supply is used to bias the transistor, that voltage is divided into two part by using this resistance R1 and R2. Then this improves the stability of transistor, and this is most widely used method to provide a stable biasing in transistor. That, and we have solved couple of numerical problem based on this voltage divider biasing technique, where I have shown how the voltage divider biasing technique, collector current and collector emitter voltage is insensitive with respect to change in beta, and how the stability is improved. Then I have introduced another technique, that is collector feedback. So in this technique, basically a feedback circuit is introduced from collector to base through a feedback resistance. So that is why this technique is also called as a base bias collector to base bias, collector to base bias technique, or collector feedback configuration. Because here plus VCC is collected to the collector through collector resistance, and a feedback, a portion of feedback is given to the base. So this improves the basically stability of transistor, and this collector feedback configuration is quite much more stable than the fixed bias configuration technique. So in today's lecture, I will introduce another configuration that is called as emitter follower configuration, and is another transistor biasing technique. So in this technique, we use we provide a DC power supply to the emitter. Remember, the DC power supply what we are using, that is the negative end of the DC power supply is connected to the emitter, that is in case of NPN transistor. Remember, this is NPN transistor. If it is PNP transistor, then this negative end will be positive. That is the difference from other configuration techniques. And there is a base resistance, so base, emitter and collector, and there is no resistance at the collector terminal. So we have a collector, we have a base, we have a emitter. At the meter we have emitter resistance, then this emitter end of the transistor is connected with the negative terminal of the battery, and base is connected to the base resistance, and that is grounded, and collector is grounded. So whether, let us try to check whether this configuration is giving us a linear operation of transistor. Basically, we know that the base emitter junction should be reverse bias. So here we have not connected any power supply to the base. That means this this is zero potential and this is negative potential. That means emitter is negative potential. Now basically this base will be at positive potential with respect to emitter. So this base is positive and emitter is negative. So VBE, that is in forward bias. So that means base collector junction is in forward bias. So that is what we want. And here this, if you see the collector is at zero potential, and because of this resistance, when emitter current will flow, obviously there will some base current will flow. Because of the base current, there will be some voltage drop at this base resistance. Okay, and because of the voltage drop, we will get some base voltage here, VB. And if we calculate the base collector voltage difference, because collector at zero potential and base has some positive potential, so VBC, if we find out, so this should be in reverse bias. Obviously we will get some voltage drop here, so that will give us that this VCB or VBC will be at uh, reverse bias in negative potential. So this tells us that transistor is in active region of operation. So let us try to analyze the circuit for emitter follower configuration. So if we choose the, let us say, emitter base emitter loop, so the circuit can be DC equivalent circuit can be represented something like that. So this collector and input AC input power supply, this will be omitted. This collector, this capacitor to C1 and C2, and this VO and VI will be deleted, yeah, omitted. So we will get a DC equivalent circuit which is equivalent to this circuit. Okay, so this is the base emitter loop. If we apply Kirchhoff voltage law, so if you do that again, so applying Kirchhoff voltage rule in input loop, so if we start from this clockwise, so that is I, let us say IB current is flowing, so IB into RB plus VBE plus IE into RE, let us say IE current is flowing, minus VEE, and positive end of the this VEE, that is we know that is grounded, so that is minus VEE is equal to 0. So that is what I have written. Okay, And we know here, if you see, we have two different current, IV and IE, and we know a relation between IB and IE in terms of beta. So we can write IE is equal to beta plus 1 into IB, and this is for common base transistor, common emitter transistor. Sorry. Then if we substitute the value of IE in this equation, in this in place of IE, so we can write beta plus 1 IB. So we can find out IB into RB plus beta plus 1 into IB into RE, and this VE we have taken this side, and this will become minus. So VEE minus VBE. So IB and IB is common. So we can write IB is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RB plus beta plus 1 into RE. So if you recall this equation, thus IB is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RB plus beta plus 1 into RE. This base current equation is quite similar to the emitter bias configuration. If you remember what we are learning here emitter follower. But if you recall the emitter bias configuration, in case of emitter bias configuration, we have obtained quite similar equation for base current. So that was IB was equal to VCC minus VBE divided by RB plus beta plus 1 into RE. So what is the difference? Difference is, in case of, this is what I'm showing, this was the case of emitter bias configuration. In case of emitter bias configuration, it is VCC, but in case of emitter follower configuration, what we have? We have VEE. That is only the difference. IB is equal to, here we have VEE minus VBE. In case of emitter bias configuration, it was VCC minus VBE. So why it is called as a follower? Because we have applied DC power source to the emitter. So transistor is basically, this biasing is followed by the emitter terminal. That is why it is called as a emitter follower configuration of transistor biasing technique. So this is the expression for the base current. Once we got the value of base current, so we can find out the value of remaining quantities. So by, again, we can find out the collector emitter voltage drop by applying Kirchhoff voltage line out in collector emitter loop. So if you apply, because there is no collector resistance, so here there is no voltage drop, so we have voltage drop, that is plus VCE plus IERE minus VEE is equal to 0, or we can write in terms of minus VCE minus IERE plus VEE is equal to 0. Okay, so if we solve it, so we can find out VCE is equal to VEE minus IE into RE. So this is the collector emitter voltage. So this is very simple technique to find out the variables which is required. So let us try to solve one numerical problem based on emitter follower configuration. So example 1, that is determine VECQ, that is collector emitter voltage, and IEQ, because here collector current, there is no resistance, collector resistance, so we have not written the collector current. So that is basically Q point is basically emitter current. So emitter current is maybe equal to the base current, that is the collector current. So IEQ for the network shown in figure. So this circuit is exactly equal, similar to the circuit which I have shown in the theory. So that is VI C1 RB RE minus VE C2 VO. Okay. So the value is given, RB is 240 kilo ohm, RE is equal to 2 kilo ohm, beta is 90, VCEQ, this voltage drop across the collector emitter terminal, and IEQ, this emitter current we have to find out. C1 and C2 value is given, which is not of our requirement for the present problem. So this value doesn't mean in we don't require this value in our, in solving VCEQ and IEEQ, because these are the DC level. So in order to find out the IEQ, what we have to do? We have to first find out what IB, because if you see, remember, so this IB is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RB plus beta plus 1 into RE, and this value of IB was equal to, if you multiply this value of IB with beta plus 1, that will give the emitter current, that is IE. So it means that first we have to find out IB by using this equation, and once we find out the IB, then we can use this mathematical expression, that is I is equal to beta plus 1 into IB, so we can find out IE. Once we determine the IE, so that is what is we have to find out IEQ, and after knowing the IEQ, we can find out the VCEQ. Okay, so IB is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RB plus beta plus 1 in bracket, that is R into RE. So VEE, that is 20 volt, okay, and minus VBE, we know that is 0.7 volt, divided by RB, that is 240 kilo ohm, plus beta plus 1, that is 90 plus 1, that is 91 into 2. You multiply, that will give the 182. So this will give 19.3 divided by 240 plus 182. This, if you solve this, this will give the 19.3 volt divided by 422 kilo ohm. So if you solve again this, so this will give the base current, that is equal to 45.73 microampere. So the base current is 45.73 microampere. Then by using this mathematical equation, that is beta plus 1 into IB, we can find out the IEQ. That is what we have to determine. So IEQ is equal to beta plus 1 into IB. So beta plus 1, that is 90 plus 1, that is 91, multiplied by 45.73 microampere. So this will give IEQ is equal to 4.16 milliampere. Okay. So once we determine the IEQ, so by applying Kirchhoff voltage law in collector emitter loop, or simply by using this mathematical equation, VC is equal to VEE minus IE into RE, we can determine the VCEQ. So VCEQ is equal to VEE minus IE into RE, and in place of IE, we know that is beta plus 1 into IB, or that is we can directly write 4.16 milliampere. If you do that, so 20 volt minus beta plus 1 into IB into RE, so that is 4.16 milliampere multiplied by 2 kilo ohm. So this will give the 20 volt minus 8.32 volt. VCEQ is equal to 11.68 volt. So this is very easy technique to determine the Q point, या Q level in this particular transistor biasing configuration. Basically here your, if you see, but this is output, and this was the basically emitter, and this was input. So here collector emitter is the output, so that if output we have determined. Okay, so let us try to see another transistor biasing configuration technique, which is called as a common base configuration. Though this common base configuration technique I have introduced in the beginning when I have started the transistor. So this common base configuration is unique in that the applied signal is connected to the emitter terminal, and the base is at or just above ground potential. Okay, it is fairly popular configuration because in the AC domain it has very low input impedance, high output impedance, and good gain. So that is why this common base configuration technique is very unique, and this is very easy also. But the difference with other transistor biasing technique here is that here we use two powers DC power supply. In other biasing technique we have used one DC power supply, and here in common base configuration we are using two DC power supply. One is minus VEE, which is connected to the emitter, so that, and another is the VCC, that is connected to the collector. So if you check this technique, so we know that for linear operation, base emitter junction should be forward bias and base collector junction should be reverse bias. So if you check the polarity, so emitter, this is NPN transistor, so N-type semiconductor should be connected with the negative terminal and P-type should be connected with the positive terminal. So this base emitter junction, that this is in forward bias. This ensures that if the negative end of the VEE is connected to the emitter through emitter resistance, so this base emitter junction, that is in forward bias where base is common. And if you check this base collector junction, so this collector is basically N type. So this N type should be connected with the positive terminal of the battery, and base is P type. So this is connected with the negative terminal of battery. So base collector junction, that is in reverse bias. So that means this transistor biasing is very easy just by using two DC power source, and we can apply AC input at the emitter terminal and we can get the output at the collector terminal. So if we analyze this circuit in order to find out the emitter current, collector current, and output voltage, that is VCB, and this collector emitter voltage, we have to apply the Kirchhoff voltage law. So if we apply Kirchhoff voltage law in base emitter loop, so this base emitter loop, let us say this part, and DC equivalent circuit. So this capacitor and this AC input, this capacitor AC input output, this will be omitted or they will be deleted. They can be neglected. So if you draw the circuit, so circuit will be looks like here, that is base, and then emitter, then we have a resistor, emitter resistor, then we have a VE battery, negative end is connected with the resistance, and then positive end is grounded. So this is making a closed loop. So let us assume that here we have a voltage drop that is plus VBE, okay, and current is flowing because this is emitter, so current is flowing in this direction. So if you apply Kirchhoff voltage law, so if you apply clockwise and anti-clockwise, any direction you can apply. If you apply, let us say clockwise, so we can get plus VBE plus IERE minus VEE is equal to 0. Or if you apply this clockwise, so then we can get minus IERE minus VBE plus VEE is equal to 0. So in any way, in any direction you can apply, so you will get this equation, that is minus VEE plus IERE plus VBE is equal to 0. So this is anti-clockwise I have applied, but I have drawn the arrow clockwise, but I have applied the Kirchhoff voltage law anti-clockwise. So IE is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RE. This technique I have also introduced earlier also, if you remember. So this emitter current we come to know. Now we can apply Kirchhoff voltage law in entire outside perimeter of the network, means this side. If you see, this is grounded, so this is making a closed loop. This outer peri side of the transistor, that is making a closed loop. Apart from this one, this is first loop, this is second loop, another third loop is there. So this is basically this one. This is grounded, so this portion, that is outer perimeter of the network. So we apply Kirchhoff voltage law. So this will, if you apply Kirchhoff voltage law, so this will give obviously plus IERE. If you start from here, so plus IERE minus VEE, and then if you go, so obviously this will check the plus ICRC minus VCC plus ICRC plus VCE is equal to 0. So if you start from here, once again, plus IERE minus VEE minus VCC plus ICRC plus VCE is equal to 0. So this equation I have written, minus VEE plus IERE plus VCE plus ICRC minus VCC equal to 0. So in this equation, we have two different current. We have emitter current and then we have collector current. And base is common. So as I stated earlier also, this base current is of the order of microampere and that is very less in magnitude. So it will be a good approximation for our convenience that emitter current is approximately equal to collector current. If you do that, so we can illuminate one current, that is emitter current, in terms of collector current. So then we can find out the collector emitter voltage. So if you find out the collector emitter voltage VCE, that is this voltage, that is equal to VEE, just solving these equations. So VCE and substituting in place of IE, IC. Okay. So VCE is equal to VEE plus VCC minus IE in bracket IC plus RE. Why I have not written in terms of IC? Because here IE is known. We have calculated IE here earlier. So IE is known. So IE is equal to IC. Whether you write IC or IE, both are the same. So uh, collector emitter voltage, that is equal to VEE plus VCC, means sum of both power supplies, DC power supplies, minus voltage drop across both resistance, okay, into emitter current. So that is minus IE into R in bracket RC plus RE. So this is the collector emitter voltage in common base configuration. Similarly, if you want to find out the collector base voltage, the base collector voltage, so we can apply Kirchhoff voltage line, this loop. In second loop, yeah, in collector base collector loop. So if you do that, so we can write, if we start from here, plus VCB minus VCC plus IC into RC, that is equal to 0. So VCB will be equal to VCC minus IC into RC, and we have approximated that IC is equal to IE. So we can write, because IC is not known, so IE is known, so we know the value of IC. So VCB is equal to VCC minus IC into RC, or we can write VCB is equal to VCC minus IE into RC. Both are the same. So all the unknown quantities are now known in this common base configuration transistor biasing technique. So let us try to solve one numerical example based on common base configuration biasing technique. So determine the current IE and IB, emitter current, base current, and the voltage VCE and VCB for the common base configuration shown in figure. So this circuit is exactly similar to the circuit which I have shown in theory, except that here I have given some numerical value of emitter resistance, this emitter voltage, power supply, collector power supply, and collector resistance, and beta value is given. Beta or alpha, beta value is given. So we know in order to calculate the emitter current, we can use directly the formula. So that is emitter current is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RE. So emitter current is equal to VE is known, that is 4 volt. VBE we know, that is 0.7 volt. So 4 volt minus 0.7 volt divided by 1.2 kilo ohm. So that is IE is equal to 2.75 milliampere. Okay. Now once the emitter current is known, then we have relation between emitter current and base current that I have introduced in my some in previous lectures, and even in this lecture also. Uh, so if you recall that, so that emitter current can be, though this is basically common base transistor. In case of common base transistor, the gain parameter, current gain parameter is basically defined as alpha, but in this given numerical problem, beta is given. If alpha would have been given, then we can have directly written we know that alpha is equal to IC upon IE. So then we can find out the IC. But here beta is given. That means we have to find out emitter current or base current in terms of beta. Okay, or emitter current or collector current in terms of beta. That is what is the aim of writing this mathematical expression. So we know that emitter current can be written as equal to beta plus 1 into base current, where beta is the gain amplification factor, current amplification factor for common emitter transistor. But here configuration is common base. No need to confuse. Okay. So we can find out the base current because emitter current is known. So base current can be written as IE emitter current divided by beta plus 1. So IB is equal to 2.75 milliampere divided by 60 plus 1. That will give the base current is equal to 45.08 microampere. If you compare both result, emitter current and base current. So emitter current is 2.75 milliampere and base current is 45.08 microampere. So this current, if you compare, so that current, base current is 100 times, of the order of 100 times less than the emitter currents. Okay, because this is nearly milliampere, this is microampere. So that is why we have had approximated that one can neglect the base current when you write the collector current. So if you calculate the collector emitter voltage, so we have calculated emitter voltage and base emitter current and base current. So if emitter current is known, so in theory I have explained. So this emitter current can be approximated as a collector current. So this emitter current is equal to collector current also. We can approximate, and base current we have determined. So collector emitter voltage can be calculated. So collector emitter voltage will be equal to this voltage plus this power supply plus this power supply minus current into this resistance plus this resistance. So that is what I have did. So this VE, that is plus 4 volt, plus VCC 10 volt, minus IE, that is 2.75 milliampere, in bracket RC, that is 2.4 kilo ohm, plus RE, that is 1.2 kilo ohm. If you calculate it, so it will give 14 volt minus 9.9 volt, that is 4.1 volt. So that means voltage drop across collector emitter junction, this voltage drop, that is 4.1 volt. Now let us try to calculate collector base voltage. So collector base voltage, that will be equal to, we know, that is VCC, this power supply minus voltage drop across this resistance, but VCC minus IC into RC. And we know that VCC can be written as VCC minus beta into IB into RC. We know that relation IC is equal to beta into IB. IB is here we have determined. So that if you calculate, or even we can have written that because here we are calculating precise value, we can have approximated that IE is equal to IC. So we can have chosen, we can write this value also. Okay. If we write this value, so this will give the quite similar result. Only little difference will be there, but this is more precise calculation. So VCB will be equal to 10 volt minus 16 6 point, sorry, 10 volt minus 6.49 volt. If you calculate it, this number, so this will give minus 6.49 volts. So this VCB will equal to plus 3.51 volts. So this voltage drop across collector base junction, that is 3.5 volt. So this is what all about the transistor biasing we have discussed till now. So in I have covered nearly all the transistor biasing technique in my this couple of lectures, and I have solved at least one or two or three numerical problems based on each transistor biasing technique, and I have shown that how change in beta, change in other parameters affect the sensitivity and stability of transistor. So out of this all transistor configuration, transistor biasing configuration, voltage divider transistor biasing configuration is much preferred for amplification purpose. With this remark, I thanks to all of you for listening me carefully. Thank you very much.